I'll use people's pronouns, but I don't like being asked the pronoun question. But then that goes against the whole gender philosophy. But it's like, I'm not being a cunt about it. Do we need to ideologically align is kind of, it's the question I ask a lot on my podcast, to treat people like human beings and get on with each other. And yeah, I think maybe I must have had experiences with non-binary people where they were so militant. I was like, fuck you, then you're not a... And that pushed me away. But now I'm sort of, I spoke to you previously about my political arc sort of changing, and I'm just meeting like ordinary people that are not militant, but they just have a different concept of womanhood or gender than me. Yeah. And I'm just interested in like everyone getting on and how to sort of promote that without believing the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
Because I don't live in a queer bubble, right? I'm probably like one of there's not a lot of openly, visibly queer people in the work I do, and because I'm a forklift driver, it's a very mask.
Yeah, well,
place.
There you go with the gender fuckery, right?
Yeah. But the way forward, I think, is to be less obsessed with the label that people use and more fixated on who that person is. So the people that I feel the most safe with are don't always like align politically, don't always like, not that visibly like vocally progressive, but they don't see me as queer person, they see me as Frankie, and they treat me accordingly. They're not caught up in this different, because that's what it is. I honestly, because I do believe I have more in common with someone who isn't queer than they think they do. Sure, it informs a lot of who I am, but I still think I can get along with someone who isn't. Because people just forget that you're a person because of all the crap that's out there about gender non-conforming people
and LGBT stuff. It seems kind of like our identity is, that whole argument. Why are you making queer your identity? And it's like, I didn't. You did.
Yeah. You know what? The only time I ever discuss my sexuality or the label that I use is when straight people are asking me. In my circle of like queer friends, it just never comes up. The only time I've ever asked is when someone is trying to be like, affirming, and they're just curious. It's like, yeah, it's because I think there's so much more to me than my sexuality and my gender identity. I think there's it's there, but I think there's so much more to me than that, if that makes sense.
No, I believe that too. And I believe in the individual. Like, obviously we're part of this queer category or LGBT category, whatever you want to call it, but we are just human at the end of the day.
Yeah. And that's why I honestly perceive the current climate against trans people is just a distraction from the things that really link us together, the things that really make us connect with each other.
So to sort of summarize what you're saying, Ed, for that culture war to dissipate, you believe it's sort of elevating our common humanity?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, because there's so many things we have in common, like with just each other as humans. There's so much we can relate with each other. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
I like it. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I like it. Oh man, that's so cool. I feel we're polarized because we're online and these like digital communities, and I don't know if you've seen like libs of TikTok or just people pluck out extremes and then they're like, that's what the trans community are doing, and they're trying to change your children and the LGBT agenda, and it's like, no, like most of us just want to get on with our lives.
I think a best example I've seen of that recently is one person said that they identified as a season, which is like fine, whatever. Like, it doesn't affect me at all. Like, if that's, it's not my position to judge it's not my position to judge because honestly, at the end of the day, it doesn't affect me. But they found that and they were like, they're identifying as seasons now. This is why it's so hard.
There's one person.
One person, and they use it to drum up that whole.
Yeah. Or moon gender. Which, oh my God, I feel bad for laughing. It's just, or what was it? Moon gender meant when my gender only comes out at night. I mean, I don't know. Some of these concepts only really exist online.
Yeah. But also that's like
each to their own.
Yeah, each to their own. But I think, people really do grab these like people on the fringe
and use it to paint like LGBT in sort of one brush.
Yeah. Because it is a very diverse community. It's a very diverse community.
We don't think the same.
Sorry.
We don't all think the same.
No way. No way. The in the progress flag, the black and the brown strip in there is like kind of an acknowledgement that in the beginning they were pretty fucking racist and they left people of color behind. Even though they themselves were an oppressed group, they left another group behind with that. Whereas I think a lot of people from the outside would just be like, oh, you're gay? Oh, so you mustn't be racist. You mustn't be misogynist. You mustn't be this or that. But it's a diverse community. People have different opinions. And I think the only thing that really connects us is like sexuality and gender expression.
Yeah. And we sort of had to form that community to sort of fight for our rights. I mean, there's a guy called Jonathan Haidt. He talks about identity politics can be great when we use it to elevate marginalized groups as opposed to using it to weaponize against people, like, oh, you're a white male, so you are oppressive. And I don't like it when people use identity politics in that way.